big finish there. Can you buy a used car online and get it delivered to your door contact-free? Kazoo, yeah you can. Kazoo, the safer way to buy a used car.
At Vodafone, we know how important it is to keep connecting. Whether you're working from your back bedroom or keeping the kids on top of chemistry, it's now more crucial than ever to have a reliable broadband connection. So, switch to Vodafone Superfast Broadband to get average download speeds of 63 megabits per second for just £22.95 a month. Available online today. Ready? Vodafone.
Offer ends 4th of March. 24-month contract, credit check, acceptance, terms and CPI plus 3.9% annual price rise apply. Vodafone.co.uk/broadband.
This year, it's all about getting back to business. So to help your staff return to the workplace with confidence, install clear protective screens from Summit Defence. These effective barriers can easily be fitted to any desk or workstation and give staff the reassurance of working in a safer environment. Available now for same-day dispatch. Just search Summit Defence. Summit Defence. For added protection in the workplace, we've got it covered.
So your boiler's making even more noise than your neighbour's yappy dog. And with so much time at home, now's probably a good time to do something about it. The boiler, that is, not the dog. Get a new boiler installed by an expert British Gas engineer and spread the cost over 2.5 years interest-free. Plus, get £150 off when you book before the 28th of February. Search British Gas New Boiler. British Gas, here to solve. British Gas New Heating Limited is a credit broker and uses a panel of lenders. Conditions apply.
We all have our own personal relationship with money. How we spend, save and budget. Our goals and dreams for the future. This is your moneyverse. And it's as unique as you are. And the Barclays app can help you master it. It helps you see how you're spending and any upcoming scheduled payments. Barclays. You need to be 16 or over to use the app. T's and C's apply.
Road trips with friends. We'll get there soon. Arguing over shotgun. Shotgun! One day, we'll get there too. Need to be. Right now, infrequent car use could mean a flat battery, so get your free battery health check. Book now at quickfit.com. By the way, happy.
Swarbrick on Sunday with Tom Swarbrick on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
A reminder that after the news at 12, we'll have Professor Anthony Harnden with us to take your calls. He is the Deputy Chairman of the Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunisation, the people responsible for deciding who gets the vaccine and when. He's on the front page of many of the papers this morning suggesting that the data that has come out of the vaccination programme in this country so far shows that infection rates in the over 80s has fallen dramatically in the past month. Professor Anthony Harnden here to answer your questions after the news at 12. We'll talk about Brexit in just a moment, but I want to come to your calls on this knife violence that we're seeing. Risa is in Slough. Welcome to the programme, Risa.
Hiya. Yeah, basically, I just think it's got a culture now. It's a war zone out there for kids. It's absolutely ridiculous. I totally agree with what some of the callers have said. Parents have a big part to play in it. Community has a big part to play in it. I don't want to say too much.
Sorry to interrupt, Risa, but sorry to interrupt, but when you say war zone, what do you mean by war zone? Because that's quite an emotive term.
Yeah, it's a war zone. A 15-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 13-year-old, when they're walking outside, even if it's a girl, they literally are watching their back. The smallest thing, I mean, these boys are killing each other over the smallest thing, like stepping on someone's trainers or having a fight over a girl. It is literally a war zone out there. I know families where their kids are drug dealing. It's just like that lady said, and the families are just pretending like, oh no, nothing's happening. They bring the money in. I know people who have said to me when they listen to drill music, it makes them want to stab somebody in the eye. I know people whose neighbours have basically opened drug houses in their neighbourhoods, and the police come continuously, but the police are not doing anything about it.
And has that got worse under lockdown in your view, Rita?
To be honest with you, of course it has gone worse, but to be honest with you, I don't think it's fair just to say, oh, lockdown is to blame. It's not. It's but the fact that I feel like the government are not doing enough to prevent this issue. The people in power, the people in media, you know, these rappers, you know, they're not doing enough. They're not. They're just making money out of this, and kids are going around killing each other. I mean, when I was in school, I mean, I was born in 1993, so when I was in school, we used to have a fight. It was about, you know, you either use our fist. You know, now, you know, bullying ends up in death.
It does seem, Risa, you're not the first person, I'm afraid, to describe the environment that's created around young people to fall into this if they want to, particularly through some of the violent music, perhaps. Horrifying. Risa, thank you so much for your call. Come back to your calls on that in just a moment. I want to touch, though, on this Brexit story that we talked about. The volume of exports going through British ports to the EU fell by a staggering 68% last month compared with January last year. Rob Hollyman is director in Essex, depots in Southampton and Warrington. Thank you for your time this morning, Mr. Hollyman. Is this because of Brexit, sir?
I didn't actually hear the question. I only heard where we have offices, which I already know. What was the question, Tom? Sorry.
I'm glad you know where your offices are. Just a reminder, Southampton and Warrington. I wondered how much do you think this is down to Brexit?
Well, entirely is the short answer to that. I don't find it a surprise. We made, as a company, Youngs, we made a decision in the last days of last year not to send any vehicles of our own across the water until the bedlam died down. We knew it was going to be bedlam. It has been bedlam. It actually died down. It started off relatively quietly and then got worse. It's still pretty bad, so we are still not sending our own vehicles.
What are the things that need to change in order to make it better?
Essentially, it's the export process. The taking of loads out to the EU is such a prolonged and tiresome and tedious process, and can take anything between an hour and a day. And you can't run a business on that sort of inconsistency. I mean, going back, you know, a previous generation, when I'm of an age where I can remember it, where we had customs clearances and things, that was how it worked. And even in those days, you know, it was difficult, but we didn't know any better. Of course, we had 20 odd years of knowing better and how much easier it can be. Got used to that, and we're back into unknown territory. Although, as I say, for the older generation, it's a painful reminder of how it used to be.
And what Mr. Hollyman is going to need to change in order to make it easier. I'm seeing lots of suggestions from more customs staff to be able to process these claims or these forms.
Well, I think actually the process needs to be streamlined rather than being so complicated. I'm not pretending to know the answer, but what I think government has not done that could have done, that they could, and speak more to the go at it. But I accept fully that there were still negotiations going on well into December, and so you can't actually start making processes for a system that you don't know exists. So I understand that, but I do think that they've failed to listen to the people who are actually at grassroots level who face these consequences daily.
And they've got a fight on their hands with the European Union when it comes to getting those exports from GB to NI, which is, of course, a direct consequence of the deal that Boris Johnson signed. Rob, thank you for your time. Rob Hollyman, Director of Youngs Transportation and Logistics, based at Purfleet in Essex, with, of course, crucially, and Warrington. Let's have a quick word with Margaret in Enfield before the news at 12. Hi, Margaret.
Hi, Tom.
Your thoughts?
I believe there's so many elements. These kids have no respect for themselves, their lives, or anybody else's lives. And more often than not, it all starts in the home, where they're not being able to control themselves or be controlled by a parent.
Well, look, I think, Margaret, I think you're right about the need to get the home life right. I do think that cutting police officers hasn't helped if you need to do much better targeting stop and search. That clearly seems to be the message from the policing groups. But you're right. What is it any government could do about making life at home a lot better? Listen, thank you for your call. I've got to move on. After the news at 12, we'll be joined live by the Deputy Chief of the Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunisation, Professor Anthony Harnden. Your chance to put your questions to a man who knows about the vaccine rollout in this country.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. From Global's newsroom at 12 o'clock, AstraZeneca and Oxford University have begun trying to adapt their coronavirus vaccine as a trial suggests it has limited effectiveness against the South African variant. They say the adapted vaccine could be ready in the autumn. Dr. David Nabarro is from the World Health Organization.
Variations are worrying and we have to be very conscious of them, but we know they're going to come and they're going to go on coming, and we know that the vaccines will continue to have to be modified, and that's as it will be.
The government is to offer rapid testing to companies with more than 50 employees in an effort to normalise testing in the workplace. Vaccines Minister Nadeem Zahawi has told Swarbrick on Sunday on LBC he's confident those aged 50 and over will be offered a vaccine by May.
The determining factor is vaccine supply. So vaccine supply is finite. We're already beginning to reserve the second dose so that we begin second dosing in March, and then of course continue the second half of February and into March and April with the first dose. But I'm confident that we will hit our target for mid-February and our target for May.
Separately, Labour is calling on the government to extend the business rate holiday. Shadow Business Minister Lucy Powell has told Swarbrick on Sunday on LBC that small businesses face an uncertain future.
We're calling for that to be extended for at least 6 months to allow businesses to get back on their feet. And then the second thing we're calling for is that you might remember the Chancellor announced a cut in VAT for hospitality businesses only. Most businesses haven't been able to enjoy that because they've been closed for most of the time since that policy was announced. So we want that extended.
In other headlines this hour, snow could cause disruption to essential journeys during today and tomorrow, with much of the UK under weather warnings. The east and southeast of England are expected to be worst affected. It's already snowing for days on higher ground in Scotland. Meteorologist Claire Nazir says it's being caused by a severe weather front.
This has been spinning up, and because the air's got steadily colder across the UK as the rain